What is up, people? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do a how-to tubeless setup on a mountain bike. The process is the same for roads as well, so it's worth you checking it out if you're a roadie, or if you're a mountain biker, this one's the one for you. So basically we're going to need an arrangement of things in order to set your bike up tubeless. Obviously you're going to need a tubeless ready tyre, so it will say on the side of the tyre or on the packaging. And if you're not too sure, then contact the manufacturer and they can tell you if your tyres are specific. But it's crucial that you have a tubeless ready tyre. Then also you're going to need the tubeless tape and the valves and the sealant as well. So that will be the full tubeless setup. And then you're going to need an arrangement of tools and cleaning products just to help with the setup. Let's just get into it and take you through the steps on getting it set up nice and easy. First thing I need to do is I need to let the air out of the tyre so we can remove it in order to fit the new one. So let's do that. Right, that's the old tube out. We're going to need that, and we're going to take the old tyre off. The next process now is going to remove the existing tubeless tape. Because I've got a brand new tyre to fit, I always recommend that you best fit it with an inner tube to start with, stretch out the tyre. By doing that, when you go to set up to do your tubeless setup, you'll find it a hell of a lot easier getting the tyre on and to seat, because it's already taken its shape on the rim from having an inner tube in it. So this is quite a nice little tip. What I would suggest you do though, if you go ahead and do this stage with a brand new tyre, then you probably want to leave it around an hour sitting there at the maximum PSI that you have on the tyre wall of what you're using. Then that way it'll fully stretch the tyre to its true sizing, but also it'll give the bead on both sides a chance to really sit into the rim. Now obviously you're going to remove the tyre anyway, but what that does, it forms the shape that it needs to when it's sitting in the rim. You can't see, but where the zip ties have been on there, it has left a bit of a uniform shape where it's opened up slightly. So this is the reason why I always recommend that you get the tyre on now with an inner tube to start with, and then leave it around, like I say, anything from half hour really, but we're going to leave it for around an hour or so, and then we'll come back and remove the inner tube and carry on with the process. Little pro tip for you, check on the side of the tyre, it will have a rotational direction. Now some tyres are specific for front or rear, and basically what you need to look for on the sidewall is the direction that your specific tyre is meant to go. Now this is a rear wheel, and the rotational direction is the wheel turning in a forward motion, and the arrow is pointing that way, so this is installed correctly. Okay, so that's the tyre fully inflated to 50 psi. I'm going to now leave that for around an hour just to stretch the tyre out, which will help when I come to do the tubeless setup in a bit. Okay, with the tyre now removed, we're now going to remove the existing rim tape. Get rid of that down now. Now basically, once the tape's been removed, we need to clean the rim to make sure that there's no glue, residue, or even old sealant that may have creeped through, so we can get a nice contact for when we install our new tape. Today we're going to use the disc brake cleaner, and basically having a reference point to start with will be the valve hole. We're going to start there, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to just spray it liberally on the rim all the way around until I get back to the valve hole, like so. With that on there, that's going to break down any dirt, sealant, glue, or anything else that might have creeped on there. And basically with some clean rag, again starting from the valve, we're literally just going to wipe it down all the way around. As you can see, this is the reason why you use tubeless tape instead of just the normal tape that may come on your rims as standard, is there's lots of holes for the nipples, and basically by using the tubeless tape it seals all this up completely and makes it airtight. So we've now cleaned the rim completely of any residue that was left behind, and we're happy to now install the tubeless tape. Starting from the valve hole, I always recommend you go around 150 mil, 6 inches back before the valve, and then go across the valve and go all the way around, and it's the same when you get back to the valve go past it around 150 mil, and then you'll have a good sealing across the valve, which is a crucial point. With tubeless tape, it is pretty important that you get as much of the tape as flat as possible into the rim in the centre. So again, the first thing I always recommend is pushing down from the middle and working your way down the rim like so. It helps to pull it quite tight as well, and you may have seen on other videos them doing it on a truing stand. That is a really good way to do it, but obviously we're at home, so we're going to show you the way to do it if you're just sitting indoors. And basically you just keep pushing the tape down while pulling it tight, and as you can see I'm pushing through the middle while pulling the tape tight, and hopefully you can see that. Let's spin this so you can see a bit more. And basically pushing down through the middle, leaving no air pockets, and all the way around like this. There we go, that's one revolution. Now we're going to go past the valve hole. So just find the valve hole, which is there. And we're going to go past the valve hole and then around 1, 2 and 3 spokes past it, and then we just snip that off there. With the tape installed, I'm now going to run my thumb all the way around just to push out any air pockets that may have formed. There's a nice little pop there, so that means there was a little bit of an air bubble there. That's good. So again, making my way all the way around, fully pushing every little air bubble out, and this will help get you a really good seal for your tubeless setup. Okay, so we've gone all the way around. There's the valve hole. Now I'm really happy with that. That's gone on really well. Dead in the middle, running nice and true. Now we're going to install the valve. So basically, what we need to do is we need to make a very small hole where the valve will go through. There's a couple of options. You can either use just a really small Phillips screwdriver like this one from Part Tool, super small, that'll do the job. Or you could use a pick like so. A straight pick is the one. The other option would be a dart. A small dart would work as well. So basically what I'm going to do is going from the outside and in, I'm going to then just pierce through like so. Now I have a hole in my rim ready to install the tubeless valve. They are different types of valves out there, different lengths, so make sure you get the correct length for your application, but also the ends vary different as well to going into your rim. This one is a Pete's product one I got from bitehard.com, and basically they have just a cone shape on the end. But what's quite nice with these ones, just as a side note, is if you run insert, this one will allow the sealant to go underneath the insert and work its way around as well. So that's pretty cool. So basically what we have now is we have a hole inside our rim tape. We're now going to insert this in the hole like so. Now with that installed, I now need to fit the O-ring, so a little rubber O-ring. We apply that, push that down, and then you have a lock ring. These are specifically designed to go a certain way, so there is a slight recess. That means that part on these ones go on like so to allow for the rubber grommet. Screw that on like so. Now the cool thing with having a rubber grommet is you can get a real good purchase on your rim now. Now you don't want to use any tools to tighten this up, but basically you want to have it from snug to firm. and by doing that, it will initially pull this section down and into the rim, which is crucial. If you're going to get any leaks after doing a tubeless setup, 9 times out of 10 it will come from the valve, because the air naturally wants to escape around a hole. With good sealant on your tape, and by crossing over, like I mentioned, you've got 2 layers effectively covering one valve hole. So in theory, that should be good enough, but we will see when we go to do the setup. Cool, that's the valve installed. So the next process now is we're going to now install the tyre with no sealant, and we're going to pump it up to make sure we've got no air leaks. So let's get the tyre fitted, starting from the valve, working my way round.
Both sides until we reach the opposite ends of the valve, like so.
If possible, try not to use tyre levers when installing the tyre. I know some people think they're heroes by being able to do it without tyre levers, and that's fair play to them. The reason I'd recommend you try not to use any tyre levers is you could actually damage the tape that you've just installed, which will then effectively make it leak, and you don't want that to happen. So, with the tyre fitted correctly, in the right direction. Okay, now I've got the tyre fitted with no sealant. I'm now going to inflate it to make sure we've got no air leaks. So now that's been fitted, I'm now going to just have a listen. Now that's done, I can't hear any air leaking anywhere. And also what's quite nice is the bead has popped on all the way around nice and evenly on that side. And it's done the same on that side. Awesome. So that's now inflated and seated. We now have to fit the sealant, which we'll do now. Okay, so now I've let all the air out of the system, and basically there's 2 ways to install the sealant. You can either remove the valve core, and with either a syringe or a little bottle with an end that's the same size, you can remove that and then just squirt all the sealant in. Or the other way is to open up part of your tyre and then pour the sealant in. What's pretty cool with the PT valves is they do come with a valve core remover on the cap, which is pretty sick. So I'm just going to just use this initially just to see. Yeah, that's really good. So that works. If you don't buy the PT ones, you can use a valve core removing tool like this one from Park Tool if you don't have a valve core remover on your end of your caps. And basically all you need to do is there's some flat sections on the valve. Slide it on like so and remove the valve core. Remove the valve core. What I like to do when using these is I like to leave it in now. That way I'm ready to install it correctly. So with the little top up bottles or big ones, whatever you're going to use, make sure you give them a really good shake. And depending on whether you're topping up or you're doing a new setup, always check the amount you should be putting into your tyre. This is a 29er tyre. We're going to be putting 120mm in now. So basically that's 2 of these. And the best way to do this now, without causing too much mess, is install the nozzle in the end, then rotate to a lower part. Oh dear. And we're going to just literally squeeze it in there and let gravity do its magic by pulling that in. And I'm now going to just top this back up, like so. Lovely. And now the same process, we're going to insert the nozzle of the applicator. The good thing about doing it through a valve is it is a little bit less messy, but also Because I've installed this tyre with no sealant in and had all the bead all seated, by doing that you're not going to break the bead by opening it up to pour the sealant in. So really nice way to do this. Again, with the valve core inside the tool, I'm just going to screw this back on, like so. And now, do what I call the disco. It's disco. By doing the disco, you are literally, as you can see, spreading the sealant inside the tyre wall all the way around. And by flipping it, you're then going to also spread it on the other tyre wall. And that will help give you a really good seal for when you go to pump it up. Now, I'm happy with that. Some people like to shake them. So we give it a bit of a shake. It's not a problem. I do think the spinning and doing what I call the disco really helps get that all the way around. Magic. Okay, so now we're ready to inflate the tyre. As you may see, or not see, hopefully you can see, I've laid it completely flat. It's just a nice little technique just to see how the tyre sits when pumping it up. How good is that noise? How good is that noise? So that popping noise you may hear is basically the bead sitting onto the rim. So you know you're getting a real good connection between the two. That's awesome. And there we go. So now that's fully inflated. What we're going to do now, we're going to fit the valve cup. And with a little bit of the soapy water, we're just going to give it a bit of a clean. If there is any air leaks anywhere, you're going to see them because the sealant will slowly seep out. We're looking good that side. Lovely. So now we do the final disco. Now it's fully inflated. So give it a really good shake all the way around. And there we go. I'm happy with that. The sealant you put in now, that will be your top up option as well. I'm pretty certain that most of them do get on with each other when it comes to sealant brands, but I wouldn't risk it because there are lots and lots of different types out there. So stick to the one you put in now and you'll be good to go. You want to keep an eye on the tyre pressure. So I initially pumped this tyre up to 50 psi. I will now leave it for around, I would say I'm probably going to leave it for a couple of hours, and then I will recheck the PSI and keep an eye on that. So if there's any leaks, I can keep topping it up, because sometimes it does take a while for them to see. But to be fair, I've not had no problems with Maxxis tyres over the years. They always bond really well with any rim setup that you've got, and I've always been pretty stoked with them. Hope that's helped out, and if there's any questions you have, please hit them up in the comments and I'll get back to you on those. If there's anything I missed or anything you want to know, then hit me up. If you enjoyed the video, then please give it a thumbs up, really appreciate it. And if you're not on board already, then do subscribe, stay updated with more content. So until then, hope this helps out. Stay safe out there everyone. Peace.